The fluorescent lights hummed overhead as Marcus Chen made his third round through Central Transit Station. His rubber-soled boots moved silently across the polished floor, each step deliberate and measured. Most people saw just another night security guard, clipboard in hand, radio clipped to his belt. They never noticed how his eyes swept each corner with tactical precision, how he positioned himself to maintain sight lines, how his stance stayed balanced and ready. The station stretched empty before him at 2 in the morning, save for a few late travelers hunched over phones and a janitor mopping near the far platform. Marcus paused beside a concrete pillar, letting his gaze drift across the terminal. Everything appeared normal, but something felt different tonight. The air carried a tension he recognized from years of training his instincts. His radio crackled softly. All quiet on the overnight shift, just as it had been for the past 8 months since he took this job. Simple work. Honest work. The kind that let him be home when Emma woke up for school. Where in the world are you watching from tonight? Perhaps you understand what it means to work while others sleep, to be the quiet guardian most never see. Marcus continued his patrol, unaware that in less than 2 hours, everything would change. Marcus returned to the security office, a cramped space tucked behind the information booth. The walls held the usual collection of duty schedules and emergency protocols, but tucked beside his thermos sat a small framed photo. Emma at her school science fair, beaming as she held up her volcano project. Her gap-toothed smile reminded him why he chose this quiet life over the chaos he once knew. His phone buzzed with a text message. "Daddy, Mrs. Peterson says I can stay up until you get home tomorrow. Can we make pancakes?" The message warmed him more than the coffee cooling in his cup. He typed back quickly. "Of course, sweetheart. Get some sleep now." The security monitors flickered through their rotation, showing empty platforms and deserted corridors. Marcus settled into his chair, noting how the late train schedules had shifted this week. Details mattered in this job, even if others thought it was mindless work. Every pattern, every routine, every face that appeared regularly on his watch. Captain Sarah Mitchell's voice echoed from earlier that evening when she stopped by during shift change. "Just keep the bums moving and call us if anything real happens, Chen. Real cops handle real problems." Her dismissive tone still stung, though he kept his expression neutral. She saw the uniform, not the man wearing it. Marcus checked the time and began another round. The radio crackled with urgent chatter from the police dispatcher. "All units be advised, escaped fugitive Vincent Rodriguez last seen heading toward downtown transit area. Armed and extremely dangerous. Approach with caution." Marcus straightened in his chair, muscle memory flooding back as his training kicked in. Rodriguez. He knew that name from the FBI bulletins he still followed out of habit. Armed robbery, assault, suspected in 3 murders across 2 states. The kind of predator who viewed innocent people as expendable obstacles. The security monitors suddenly demanded his full attention. Marcus leaned forward, scanning each feed with practiced eyes. Camera 7 showed a figure in a dark hoodie moving through the north entrance, head down, hands buried deep in pockets. Wrong body language for a casual traveler. Too purposeful, too aware of camera angles. Marcus reached for his radio, then hesitated. Captain Mitchell would dismiss this as paranoid speculation from an overeager rent-a-cop. She had made her opinion clear about security guards who thought they were real police officers. But every instinct Marcus had developed over 15 years of federal service screamed danger. The hooded figure disappeared from view, moving deeper into the station's maze of corridors and platforms. Marcus stood, checking his equipment belt out of habit. Flashlight, radio, keys. No weapon, no backup, no authority beyond asking people to move along. But he had something else. Experience. Marcus moved through the station with deliberate calm, his steps silent on the polished floor. 20 years of training had taught him to read environments like open books. The hooded figure had vanished from the cameras, but Marcus knew the blind spots better than anyone. 3 months of walking these corridors every night had mapped every angle, every hiding place. He paused near the main concourse, letting his eyes adjust to the shadows between the overhead lights. There. Movement behind the closed coffee kiosk. The figure crouched low, checking something in his jacket. Marcus caught a glimpse of the profile and his blood went cold. Vincent Rodriguez, exactly as described in the federal bulletins. Scar across the left temple, distinctive jawline, the predatory stillness of someone accustomed to violence. Marcus keyed his radio quietly. "Control, this is Chen at Central Transit. I have eyes on a possible suspect matching the Bolo description. North Concourse, near the coffee stand." The response came back sharp and dismissive. "Chen, stay in your lane. Real police are handling this. Do not approach. Do not engage. Just keep civilians clear if you see any." But Marcus was already moving, his mind automatically calculating angles, exit routes, potential weapons within reach. Rodriguez was trapped between the closed shops and the main platform, but cornered animals were the most dangerous. And this particular animal had nothing left to lose. The late train pulled into the station with a mechanical screech, disgorging 24 weary passengers into the concourse. Marcus watched in horror as Vincent Rodriguez emerged from the shadows, positioning himself between the crowd and the exits. The fugitive's hand moved inside his jacket, and Marcus caught the telltale bulge of a concealed weapon. 3 teenagers laughed loudly near the ticket machines, oblivious to the danger. An elderly woman with a walking cane moved slowly toward the same exit Rodriguez was blocking. A young mother clutched her sleeping toddler, checking her phone for the next bus schedule. Marcus's radio crackled. "All units, suspect believed to be in the Central Transit area. Exercise extreme caution." Too late. Rodriguez stepped forward, his voice cutting through the ambient noise. "Nobody moves. Nobody leaves. Everyone stays exactly where they are." The teenagers stopped laughing. The elderly woman froze mid-step. The mother pulled her child closer, eyes wide with sudden terror. Marcus counted 8 civilians now trapped in Rodriguez's line of sight. Captain Mitchell's voice came through his earpiece moments later. "Chen, what's your 20? We're setting up a perimeter outside." Marcus keyed his radio quietly. "Captain, he's inside with hostages. 8 civilians trapped in the main concourse. He's armed and positioned to control all exits." What would you do in Marcus's situation? Sometimes the right choice means stepping beyond what others expect of you. Marcus ignored the order to wait for backup. 8 lives hung in the balance, and he was the only one in position to act. Moving with practiced stealth, he used the service corridors he knew by heart, approaching from Rodriguez's blind spot near the maintenance area. Captain Mitchell's voice crackled through his earpiece. "Chen, hold your position. SWAT is 10 minutes out. Do not engage." But 10 minutes might as well be 10 hours. Marcus watched Rodriguez pace behind the hostages, agitation growing with each passing second. The fugitive's finger hovered near the trigger, paranoia making him increasingly unpredictable. The sleeping toddler stirred in his mother's arms, and Rodriguez spun toward the sound. "Keep that kid quiet," Rodriguez snarled, his voice echoing through the terminal. Marcus began moving through the security system with surgical precision. Years of walking these halls had shown him which cameras covered which angles. He activated the public address system remotely, creating a distraction on the far platform. Rodriguez's head turned toward the sound, giving Marcus the opening he needed. Using hand signals from his federal training, Marcus caught the attention of the elderly woman near the pillar. He gestured for her to slowly move behind cover when Rodriguez looked away again. She understood immediately, shuffling with surprising grace to safety. 1 civilian secure. 7 to go. Captain Mitchell's voice exploded through the radio. "Chen, what the hell are you doing? I ordered you to hold position." Marcus keyed his radio, his voice steady and controlled. Captain, I'm Special Agent Marcus Chen, 15 years federal service with tactical operations. I know what I'm doing. The silence that followed stretched for several heartbeats. Mitchell's response came back uncertain for the first time. Agent Chen? What are you talking about? FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit, Hostage Rescue Team Leader, Marcus continued quietly, never taking his eyes off Rodriguez. I left the Bureau 8 months ago to raise my daughter. But right now, those people need someone who understands tactical psychology. Rodriguez was growing more agitated, his movements becoming erratic. The mother with the toddler had tears streaming down her face as she tried to keep her child calm. The teenagers huddled together near the information booth, their earlier bravado replaced by terror. Marcus studied Rodriguez's body language with professional detachment. Classic signs of drug withdrawal mixed with desperation. Trigger finger twitching, rapid eye movement, excessive sweating despite the cool station air. This man was seconds away from violence. Captain, I need you to trust me, Marcus said into his radio. I can end this without bloodshed, but I need tactical authority right now. Mitchell's voice came back changed, respectful. Agent Chen, you have command. Marcus stepped into the open, his hands visible but ready. His voice carried the calm authority of someone accustomed to life-and-death negotiations. Vincent, I'm Marcus. I'm here to listen. Rodriguez spun toward him, weapon raised. Stay back, security boy. This doesn't concern you. Actually, it does, Marcus replied, moving slowly closer. I have a daughter too. 8 years old. I understand what it means to feel trapped, to feel like the world's turned against you. The fugitive's eyes flickered with confusion. What are you talking about? Marcus had read Rodriguez's file during his FBI years. Father of 2, lost custody after his drug arrests, hadn't seen his kids in 3 years. Every successful negotiation began with finding common ground. Your kids, Vincent. Maria and Carlos. 7 and 9 years old. You think about them every day, wondering if they remember you, hoping they know you love them despite everything that went wrong. Rodriguez's weapon wavered slightly. How do you know about my kids? Because I know what it's like to be afraid of losing them, Marcus said, taking another careful step forward. The difference is, I still have a chance to be the father my daughter deserves. You can still have that chance too, but not this way. The other hostages watched in frozen silence as Marcus continued his approach, reading Rodriguez's body language like a textbook, waiting for the precise moment to act. Rodriguez's hand began to shake, the weapon trembling as Marcus's words hit their mark. I can't see them anymore. The courts, they said I'm not fit. They said I'm dangerous. You made mistakes, Vincent. But that doesn't mean you're done being their father, Marcus said, now within 10 feet of the fugitive. What you do in the next 60 seconds will determine whether your kids remember you as the man who hurt innocent people, or the man who chose to be better. The moment stretched like a held breath. Marcus read the micro-expressions crossing Rodriguez's face, desperation warring with hope, rage battling exhaustion. Years of behavioral analysis training focused on this single instant. Rodriguez looked at the terrified mother holding her toddler, then back at Marcus. They won't let me see my kids if I surrender. That's not necessarily true, Marcus replied. But they definitely won't if you hurt anyone tonight. Give me the weapon, Vincent. Let me help you find a better way. With a sob that echoed through the terminal, Rodriguez's arm dropped. The gun clattered to the floor as he collapsed to his knees. Marcus moved swiftly, securing the weapon while speaking into his radio. Suspect down and disarmed. All hostages safe. Send paramedics. Captain Mitchell's voice came through, filled with amazement. Outstanding work, Agent Chen. How did you know that would work? Marcus looked at the weeping man. Because sometimes being a father is all we have left. The terminal filled with flashing lights as paramedics and police officers flooded the scene. Marcus stood beside Captain Mitchell, watching as Rodriguez was taken into custody peacefully. The hostages were being checked by medical personnel, all unharmed but shaken by their ordeal. Commissioner James Walsh arrived within minutes, his familiar face bringing Marcus an unexpected wave of recognition. The commissioner's eyes widened as he approached. "Marcus Chen? Is that really you?" "Hello, Jim," Marcus replied quietly. "Been a while." Captain Mitchell looked between them in confusion. "You two know each other?" "Agent Chen was one of our best liaison officers when I worked Federal Task Force," Walsh explained, his voice filled with respect. "Best hostage negotiator I ever worked with." "Marcus, what the hell are you doing working security?" "Long story," Marcus said simply. "But tonight reminded me why the work matters." The young mother with the toddler approached hesitantly. "Excuse me, are you the man who saved us? My daughter was sleeping through the whole thing because you kept us all so calm." Marcus knelt down to the little girl's eye level. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Lily," the child whispered. "Well, Lily, sometimes grown-ups have to help each other. That's just what neighbors do. Has anyone ever surprised you with hidden talents? Sometimes the most extraordinary people wear the most ordinary uniforms, and heroes walk among us every single day." Captain Mitchell approached Marcus as the scene began to clear, her expression humble and apologetic. "Agent Chen, I owe you an apology. I completely misjudged you tonight." "You saw a security guard doing a simple job," Marcus replied without bitterness. "That's exactly what I wanted people to see." "But why?" Mitchell asked. "Why leave federal service for this?" Marcus pulled out his phone, showing her Emma's smiling face from the science fair photo. "When my wife died, I realized Emma needed her father more than the Bureau needed another agent. Some sacrifices are worth making." Commissioner Walsh joined them, his expression serious. "Marcus, I know you left for good reasons, but after tonight, I have to ask. We're starting a new crisis intervention unit, community-focused. You'd have regular hours, weekends off, time with Emma. Interested?" The teenagers from earlier approached tentatively. "Sir," the tallest one said, his voice cracking slightly. "We wanted to thank you. We were so scared, but you made us feel safe even when everything was crazy." Marcus smiled at them. "You all stayed calm when it mattered. That took real courage." The local news crews were setting up outside, their lights beginning to filter through the terminal windows. Tomorrow, the story would spread. Tonight, a security guard had saved 8 lives using nothing but words and wisdom. 3 weeks later, Marcus walked through the same terminal, but everything had changed. His new badge read Crisis Intervention Coordinator, and his schedule meant he would be home when Emma finished school every day. The perfect balance between meaningful work and being the father she deserved. Captain Mitchell had become an unexpected ally, often seeking his advice on complex situations. The mutual respect they now shared proved that first impressions could be transformed through understanding and shared purpose. Marcus's phone buzzed with a text from Emma. "Daddy, I told everyone at school about my hero dad. Can you teach me about helping people scared like you did?" He smiled, typing back quickly. "Of course, sweetheart. Heroes come in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes they wear suits, sometimes uniforms, sometimes they just wear love for their families." Commissioner Walsh appeared beside him, grinning. "How's the new job treating you, Agent Chen?" "Like coming home," Marcus replied. "I get to help people and still make pancakes with Emma every morning." Vincent Rodriguez had been sentenced to rehabilitation rather than prison, partly due to Marcus's testimony about his genuine remorse and desire to reconnect with his children. Second chances mattered for everyone. The terminal bustled with evening commuters, each person carrying their own hidden stories, their own quiet strengths. If this story touched your heart, let us know where you're listening from. Sometimes the most extraordinary heroes were the most ordinary faces.